it says his talk today, we know him as a humorist, his talk today is as serious as playing strip poker at the retirement home. His talk is from the Advanced Communication and Leadership Program. Is it laughter you're after? Please welcome the old-timer Mel Mountjoy.
If it's laughter you're after. Well, what is humor? Old Will Rogers said humor is anything that's funny. Another fellow said it's the hole that lets the sawdust out of a stuffed shirt. And Bill Gold, who was a great speaker for about 3 decades, somebody walked up to him one day and said, "Bill, do you need to use humor in your talk?" He said, "Only if you want to get paid." So there's many explanations of humor everywhere. And I know you're thinking of a lot of them right now in your mind's eye. My grandmother made the greatest pie you ever ate. I mean, it was sumptuous. I mean, everybody wanted a piece of her pie. And that's the way it is with humor today. Everybody wants a piece of that humor, but nobody wants to dig it out. So where do you find it? The best spot is right here, right inside of you. Personal humor, experiences that you have lived that you can bring into a talk that are funny. Sometimes you have to expand on them, but you can sure do that easily. You want to get humor that fits your personality. Now, what do I mean by that? For instance, you don't see Don Rickles doing Bob Newhart material, or vice versa. You've got to have something that's going to give you confidence and something that you're going to be comfortable with, because all humor does not actually fit you. And I found a way to save time putting together a 5 to 7 minute speech. And the way I did this, I had to learn a few lessons, but I think it could help all of you right here. And that is, for instance, when I first started, here's 10,000 jokes and toasts and stories, anecdotes. Great. Here's another. Guaranteed to make you laugh. Well, you can buy these books, but when I bought these books, maybe 2 jokes or 3 at the most I would ever use. The rest of them you could throw in the trash. So that was money wasted. I found out the best way and the easiest way, because we want to use humor briefly in a 5 to 7 minute talk. In fact, people want humor today briefly. They don't want a long story. And that is, here's 2,548 best things that anybody ever said. And that is, go to a quote book that has anecdotes and has great quotes in it. One of the best I ever had was a dictionary of humorous quotations by Evan Azar. Now, Evan Azar was a great humorist. You can always look him up on the computer and you might want to find some of that material. But the big thing about it, you got to dig it out. And when I dug it out from the quotes, I wrote it down. I'd write down a joke, and you don't have to do this every day, but try to do it almost every day. Take a little time and have some fun doing it. It's not a big cram college course. All you have to do is just write it down. This was my first book that I ever had on humor, and it was pretty thick. Today, notebooks just like this. And I use them. After I write it down, I'll put them in the computer, copy them, and use them. I'm going to pass this around so you can look at it. It's kind of junky, but it'll give you an idea of how you can use humor to spice up your speech. And I'll give you an idea how I used humor out of this book, or one of my books. I had a talk I made some time ago about marriage. And the way I use that and dug it out of here, my wife is particular. I mean, if I get up during the night and go to the bathroom, by the time I get back, my bed's already finished. But my little bride, when I first married, she dressed to kill. She cooked the same way. And she always stayed with the three basic food groups: frozen, canned, and takeout. I'll never ever forget Helen. One night I come in and she had her little head on the kitchen table, just a crying. I said, "What in the world is the matter with you?" She said, "I baked you a little brain pie, and the dog ate it." I said, "Don't worry about it, I'll buy you another dog." But see, that's just an example of digging it out, and you can do it so easily if you'll just go into it easily. Write them down and put them in a notebook. I had another talk I made. 3 kinds of people. There's those that make things happen. There's those that watch things happen. And those that are wonder what the hell happened. And it's like this fella going up to Chicago. He's going to a convention. And he gets up there at this here convention and all his friends there, and they greet one another and they go in there and they just, they attend the meetings and they don't pay much attention. It's a sales meeting, but they think they're motivated. But they really got motivated that night because they had a happy hour for all of them. Well, what happened was this old boy gets overserved. He gets drunk. And the friend said, "Say, let's have some fun with you." So it just so happens that they knew in the room next to the happy hour, the funeral directors had been having a convention and they had some empty caskets on display in there. So he passed completely out. They take him over there and they put him in the casket. Well, he wakes up the next morning and he said, "If I'm alive, what am I doing in this casket? And if I'm dead, why do I have to go to the bathroom?" So the big thing is you want to keep humor, and you want to keep humor very fast. They don't want a long story. They don't want to hear a big long story. People today are in such a pace, they're let me hear it and do it. So you have the tools here that'll save all of you some time if you use them. But you got to have, if you really want to use humor, I don't know how many of you really want to or really think you can, but believe me, every one of you can if you've got the desire. So all I can say is, to spice up your speech, put your backbone where your wishbone is and get out there and do it. It'll pay off. And I have, by the way, I just thought of it, some handouts that I want to give all of you, and we'll pass them out right now. Now, I